control it, and maybe they're used to being in control, and they haven't relinquished that control to God, and because they can't control whatever it is, they worry themselves to death. You know, they used to say about worrying gives you something to do. It's like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it takes you nowhere. You just sit there rocking in place. Some people get busy in busy work, finding things to take their mind off of it. Some people become frustrated and become like Moses. Well, they hit the rock. Some people get involved in sex, drugs, and alcohol as a way of comforting themselves in difficult times. As you think about trials, difficulties, who should we turn to? Where should be our trust? Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 said, trust in the Lord with how much of your heart? 3/4 of your heart. With 7/8. With all of your heart. And do what? Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Trust in God with every fiber of being you have. If I'm trusting in God, that means that I relinquish my own control. I don't have control, but I become meek. And I allow God to control my life. See, that means then I got to have those first two attributes that Jesus talked about in the Sermon on the Mount. I have to be humble, and I have to be meek. Humble, in my view of what humble means, is removing myself out of the way. Along with humbleness, I have to have meekness. That is power under control, and I have that because I've allowed God to take the reins of my life, and he now is controlling my life. In order for me to truly trust God, I must have those two things. Next. Psalm 119, verses 115. The psalmist says, depart from me, evildoers, that I might observe the commandments of my God. The psalmist could be totally devoted to God. He could do what God wants for him to do because he did not put himself in certain environments. If we're going to be successful, this was the same thing. This was nothing new, no new teaching. From the Old Testament to the New Testament, God wanted for his people to be different. God wanted for the children of Israel to go into the land of Canaan and to utterly destroy everything. When you look at Deuteronomy and Judges, he wanted them to go in to leave nothing. Why? Because they were going to change or turn their hearts from serving him and to serving God. Be given to graven images. Well, when you look at the children of Israel, they thought they can go in and keep some of the inhabitants of the land. And not long after, the Canaanites were found turning their heart from God to worshiping idols. And the rest of the Old Testament, God is punishing the children of Israel as a result. When you look at us in the New Testament, there's no difference. We are to be separate. We are to be different. We are to control our environment and who we allow ourselves around. They will have an influence on us, or they or it will have an influence on us. When you look at 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33, Paul, writing to the Corinthian brethren about certain Corinthian brethren, will say, be not mocked, be not deceived. Evil communications do what? Corrupt the morals. And so Paul is writing to Christians about Christians and saying, even amongst yourselves, you have to be careful. have to, if you're going to be successful, first of all, as a Christian, can you live the Christian life? Yes. Can you live the Christian life? Absolutely. God wouldn't demand something of us that was impossible, right? God wants us to live the Christian life, and he wants us to be successful in doing so. It is possible to live the Christian life. We can be victorious as Christians. That's what the book of Revelation is about. But the choice is up to you. Whether you truly commit yourself to God or not, whether you decide to hate certain things in the sense of set priorities and dislike certain things, whether you choose to have the right hiding place and whether you choose to have the right environment or not, will determine whether or not you are truly successful in change and being what God wants for you to be. We're going to stop there. I see it's 10:09. It's 10:15. Well, we're going to stop there and get ready for worship. I thank you for your participation and attention.